What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel and to interview number 3 in celebration of Black History Month.
Woo woo!
I have with me here my homegirl Nisa. Nisa and I go way back, as you guys will notice with most of my friends. I've been friends with them for a long time. You may hear kids in the background. There's like how many kids are there right now? 4 kids here.
Yeah.
It will be 5, or was 5. So anyway, ignore them if you hear them in the background. Now Nisa isn't part of my high school group that you guys always hear me talk about.
I was before that.
She was actually. Nisa's younger than me, but we used to live in the same neighborhood. We went to the same elementary school, and our sisters first became really good friends. And then through their connection, me and Nisa became friends, even though she's the youngest one and I'm the oldest one between us.
I was
4.
so mature. Still am.
Okay, hold on. So yeah, we've been friends. What grade were we? When I used to babysit them.
I was like 5 when I met you guys.
Okay, so that makes me. How old are you again?
So that was
Okay, so if you were 5, I was
23
9.
years.
Mm.
We've been friends for 23 years. Cheers to that, bitch.
So yeah. Yo, they're being really loud though. So Nisa here has actually been with me and my family to DR multiple times. She and her sister used to come with us during summer vacations back when we would stay for like a month and a half. And so they kind of just got really exposed to Dominican culture and I mean the country itself. I mean, they went with us. They stayed with us in Bonao, but also experienced being in the capital. You also experienced being in the campo with us. So
Patronales.
Yes. Yo, we were wild back then. We were doing stuff at like such a young age that like getting into clubs and certain places we should not have been while still being underage. I don't know how the heck we got away
Living
with
our
that
best
crap.
lives.
Yo, like now that I'm a mom, I'm like, yo, I would never let my girls be running rampant in DR. Not that we were running rampant, but we were.
We were running rampant.
The way we were, like, we were so lucky nothing happened to us.
Blessed.
Like,
Extremely blessed.
yes. Okay, so you being an American and going to DR, what were some of your first impressions, or like what was like a culture shock for you that you can remember?
I feel like the biggest culture shock immediately was like no one wears seatbelts, or like kids aren't in like car seats and people are driving 100 miles an hour on the highway. I was like, what the fuck is going on? What else? You know, what I loved was just like how inviting everyone was, how friendly everyone was. Like it was just, you just woke up and it was just fun. Like everyone just, you know, like was truly living their best lives. As opposed to in the US where it's like that day-to-day grind and everyone's stressed out and whatever. It's like even if you don't have money there, it's like you're still living your best life and you're still living your life to the fullest. That's what I loved.
Yeah. So going to like the campo especially, how was that for you? Like going to these houses that had no indoor running water, having to use the in-out house, having to take a shower with buckets, having to sleep with a mosquitero. How was that for you?
Honestly, that was like our favorite part. You know, we loved to like sneak off and go to the campo when we were in Bonao, and I think it was just like, and you remember when we started doing all the like Christmas deliveries and stuff, and like for the kids. We went and like passed out clothes and stuff to the less fortunate. I think that was a great experience that I want my kids to experience as well. You know, just, you know, being able to see how blessed and how fortunate we are and going to the campo and seeing all these people who are, I mean, poor and just seeing how much they still enjoy life. I mean, going to the bathroom outside in the outhouse and no electricity was, and we still had like the best time of our lives there. Like that was where I feel like we made the really meaningful, long lasting friendships and relationships with people there. Definitely.
Yeah. So being American, did you ever feel like you didn't fit in, or like did you ever feel like, oh, people are going to be looking at me funny because I'm American or because I speak Spanish with like an accent? How did you feel about that?
No, I don't know if it was because I'm a woman too. So I feel like everyone was like super inviting, and I don't know. I didn't worry about that. Maybe just the person that I am. I don't really give a fuck. But it was. I don't know. I didn't have any like anxiety or anything surrounding that because everyone was just. They just welcomed me and my sister, and they still do. Yeah. To this day.
Yeah, so. No, I still have some family members that will ask about La Morena, Nikita, y Nisa. Yeah, they still remember y'all.
Of course they do.
Yeah, we were like, it was so crazy. Like, we would color coordinate our clothes. We were down there, and we would like, well, I would sometimes stay home, but these three, her, my sister, and her sister, would love to actually walk around Bonao.
Heat of the day, like
at 12, when the shops are having like their afternoon break, whatever. These girls would be walking around.
That's how we made so many friends.
Yo, these three, and mind you, we were still young.
I was like 12, 13.
Oh my god. They would literally be walking around the town.
Drinking Brugal and marijuana. What was the one when I fell into the pool? When I hit my head in the pool? Ani con leche.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. So many.
We have so many crazy stories. Oh my god.
So bad.
I mean, I was the good one out the group. But these three.
I was not.
These three were some little devils.
We were living our best life. We were just taking it, you know, like we were true Dominicans. Living our fucking best life. Christina was so Americanized.
What?
She had already let them get to her.
What? What are you talking about? The only thing I didn't do with y'all was walk at 12 midday around Bonao when the sun is freaking hot as hell.
There was more that you didn't do with us. Or we would have to force you to do a lot of things with us.
Not a lot of things, only some things. Because y'all would always want to be hanging out with these random ass dudes y'all just met. And I was like, hold up now. Hold on, I don't know these dudes.
Like the people in, what is the ice cream shop?
Oh, that was long.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm telling y'all, they would make the most random friends. And like, wasn't it like these dudes that worked at a barbershop? Remember? Some barbershop guys that y'all also became friends with.
Sure. Wait,
and wanted to hang out with, and one of them would come to the house.
Yo, who made friends with them? Who was like the ringleader in that?
It might have been more. I think so.
Someone would always have a crush on somebody. So if you were feeling somebody, then it was like, okay, well, we need to see what we can get free. You should edit this part out. You should edit this part out.
Yeah, so we have quite the memories down there. It was good though. It was good. And then also, you know, back here, we also got to engage in each other's cultures. Like, you guys would always come to our birthday parties, our Christmas parties, like y'all and Candace.
Yeah.
So I mentioned in my interview with Candace, she would
come
like
to 4 a.m.
Christmas Eve parties. So would they. And it was never like a weird thing, oh, you know, because they're African American and we're Dominican, like it's like, oh, we're different. Like nobody cared. You know, it was always good times. And then, you know, I've been around your family, you know, quite a bit too. I wouldn't say I've been around y'all's as much as you guys were around mine.
Yeah.
But like I remember going when y'all lived in Fredericksburg, like went to y'all's church.
And you cried.
I did cry one day. Look, listen, black churches are really good at tapping into your emotion. Like they get you.
They get you up and dancing, and then they're like, now cry.
Yes, they really know how to play on the emotions. So it's been good. So now I want to get into some of what you're currently doing. So Nisa here, she dibbles and dabbles in a lot of different ventures. She's quite the entrepreneur.
Okay.
Quite the entrepreneur. Support black businesses. But she has a personal training business, which you've been doing. You were doing classes, but you've also done one-on-one, and now you've kind of gotten more into the virtual because of, you know, the obvious pandemic and everything. So do you want to tell us how you got into that? And I also wanted to tie that into just the importance of keeping up with your health. I know that within the black community, especially among the women, obesity and things like that, it is a bit of an issue. So what made you want to take that step and change your lifestyle? Oh, that's kids, man.
these motherfuckers, that's who made me want to shoot you. No, honestly though, that's like really what happened. You know, I've always, I feel like, struggled with weight, like from childhood, and I think that ties in a lot with like your parents and upbringing. And as growing up in a Black family, there wasn't a lot of the like, okay, you're eating a whole pack of Oreos, like that's not healthy, you know, you need to do something about that. There's more so of the, you're just big boned, that's how you're built, you know, that's what you are. And so after having my son, I was at my heaviest, almost 320 pounds, and I remember we were at a park one day and he wanted me to like run around with him and stuff, and I just got so winded so fast. And then that's when I woke the fuck up and said, I need to make a change. I lost over 100 pounds, started my own fitness business, and from there it just continued to grow.
So you currently live and work in DC. So as far as your clientele is concerned, would you say that most of them, you seem to have a lot of like white clients? So
majority
white. Okay, so do you feel like that is reflective of how a lot of times, I won't even say just Black women, but minority women in general, like I feel like a lot of times it takes a lot for us to take that step to be like, okay, I'm going to seek a personal trainer and really get into the gym.
And that's what I mean about like establishing that from a young age, where I think that, you know, people of color in general, they don't teach their kids to invest in their health and wellness. And I think that stems into mental health, physical health, emotional health and well-being too. I mean, they just don't build that foundation in their kids, where as you get older, where you're like, okay, $200 a month so that I have someone on my ass, you know, to keep me on the right path. That's just not something that we see as a good investment. Whereas growing up around a lot of Caucasians, I see where it's like, okay, it's your 15th birthday and mom gives you a 20-pack pass for like a spin class or something like that, where that's not something that sometimes I feel like as people of color we even think about. Like gifting our children and you know, teaching them at a young age about how important your health is.
Yeah, no, that's true. I think, well, at least within like the Hispanic community, I think as far as the women goes, and we do place a lot of importance on looks and a woman looking nice, but at the same time, you do see that a lot of Hispanic women are also overweight, and people just kind of, I mean, I guess it varies on the country you're from too, but people just kind of accept it. And
I think that it's like a lot of emphasis is placed on like looking nice and having your body right and whatever, but it's not specifically on being healthy.
Yeah, that's true, because a lot of women get plastic surgery. I mean, and I can speak for Dominican women. Plastic surgery is like nothing for Dominican women these days. So like, there's so many women that get it done, nobody cares. But as far as actually making that lifestyle change, that is what you don't really see promoted as much.
Yeah.
So even if you do get plastic surgery, it can be easy to blow right back up because you didn't make that change as far as your actual dieting and exercising and things like that. Yeah. So as I mentioned earlier, so apart from the personal trainer business, you also, well, over the years, you've kind of dabbled into multiple things. And like I said, you have a very entrepreneurial spirit and
be your own boss.
Yes. And I think it's especially important for especially young Black people in their 20s and their 30s, to not be afraid to, you know, come up with business ideas and to just put yourself out there and advertise. And you're doing everything on your own, basically. And it's not like you didn't get a business degree or anything like that. You literally just... I
don't have a degree.
You've done it all on your own. You don't even have a degree.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to see, it's not something that's so far-fetched. The whole concept of starting a business, anything that you're into, any service that you like to provide, you can turn that into a business.
I think it's definitely the area that you live in also has a lot to do with it. DC is very supportive of small businesses and startups, whereas somewhere like you live in Manassas,
it would be
not so much, right? There are so many large corporations, and you're like, why support the local hardware store when there's Lowe's and Home Depot within 0.3 miles from each other, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I think that also plays a lot. But I mean, you know, people just have to do it and be consistent. And if you have something you're interested in and you believe it and you're passionate about, then just go for it.
Mm-hmm.
Go for it. Try it out. You know, you might fall down 10, 20 times. Even like, and just be open to adapting, you know.
Yeah.
Even your idea or your business idea or whatever, you might think that you want to start off doing A and it kind of transforms into C. But, you know, I think it's very important. And like I teach my children too, as Black men, I have 2 young little boys that I'm raising, where it's like, you know, like it's important to be your own boss and to have that tenacity. I don't know.
Yes, tenacity. And have that drive.
Definitely.
Yeah. So apart from the personal training, you have a business doing like decluttering spaces that are super just cluttered, people that are like hoarders. So you clear their spaces out, and you actually also do design if they choose to within that same space. And even with that, you don't have like any type of interior design degree. You just have an eye for that stuff. And so how do you currently advertise that business?
Currently I advertise mostly on social media and word of mouth, and that's been like my biggest thing even for my business. Here in DC, word of mouth is a huge thing. You know, you get one happy client and then you have 10 more knocking at your door. I think that's a big thing. Just you make your clients happy and then just kind of spreading the word for you, because if your work speaks for itself, then there's your marketing.
Yeah. Yo, social media is like those are like the top marketing platforms right now. And I know in previous conversations that we've had, you've mentioned multiple times, like these days people want an Instagram, people want pictures of the services that you provide.
Totally.
You know, and if you don't have that, that could be like a potential client that you've missed out on. You know, people want to see what you're capable of, what you're working with.
Yeah, everything's marketing right now is steered visually, definitely.
Yeah, so again, it's not even something like if you have a business idea that you have to spend tons of money on. Now, I mean, eventually you may need to reach a larger...
Or to get to a different level, right?
Yeah, but start with social media, creating Instagram pages. There's the Facebook business pages as well. So there's definitely multiple avenues people can take to turn their business ideas into business realities. Yeah, and you've definitely done that. So kudos to Nisa.
Cheers.
She's out here. Hold on. She's out here doing it. She's doing the damn thing. Okay. So yeah, definitely props to you, girl. Props to you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So another thing I wanted to ask you. So you mentioned how a lot of your clients are white.
Yes.
And I've always noticed since we were younger.
This isn't their month. We're not talking about them. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
You've always had a lot of white friends.
Yes.
And okay, so I always bring up things that I hear online, but I sometimes hear certain Black Americans on YouTube asking their Black American audience their experiences with white people. Some, of course, have had racist interactions, but I also see a lot that say, I never really had a racist encounter with a white person. My experiences with white people have actually been quite positive. So I guess it varies, but again, something that I always found very interesting about you and your sister is that y'all always had like a lot of white friends, and
we talk so much shit about white people.
It's so funny because so you have all these white friends, and then the next day you're like,
well, I mean, I think
because I have no white friends. Like I literally do not have a single white friend, and it's not because I don't want to. It's just I don't.
You don't interact with them. Yeah. I mean, I think that we growing up in Annandale, number one, and the business that my mom was in, she did real estate as we were growing up. She interacted with a lot of white people, and she started kind of bringing the whites into our lives. But no, my dad, he's from Kinston, North Carolina. He wants nothing to do with them at all, and he still kind of feels the same way. He's in his 70s, and he, grew up in a segregated city, segregation, going to a different school, and won't even eat at restaurants that used to be segregated in his city. So it was definitely two opposite ends of the spectrum, where my dad wanted nothing to do with them, and my mom grew up in DC where things were more integrated, and she's dibbled and dabbled with white people her whole life. So, but I think my biggest thing with like having so many white friends now, and the only white friends that I have are ones that are real, right? Like, I can't be friends with a white person where I can't talk to you and we can have these real conversations that need to be had, especially my white friends with white children that play with my black sons. And we can't be real about these conversations. And I can tell you my opinion, you can tell me your opinion, we can agree to disagree. I learned something from you, you learned something from me. And just them understanding that they will never understand what it is to grow up as a black male or female in the United States, but trying to learn and gain more knowledge surrounding things and not being dismissive and not getting what's the word I'm looking for?
Like offended?
Yeah, offended, and pretty much not getting offended by different things that I might say or an opinion I might have. And I think that one of a really big reality for one of my white friends was our kids had always hung out with each other, and one day we went to the pool and we were in the changing room afterwards, and my son, my oldest, he was about 5, and we were in the dressing room with his white friends who were actually a little older than him, and a white woman came out and was like, "Get this nigger out of here. You get this nigger out of here now," speaking to my son.
What?
Yeah, and so she always tells me, and she was like that, like, you hear about the racism and you see it, on TV or here, but like actually experiencing it firsthand, being with like someone that I am so close to and seeing something like that happen, like,
Yo, how did you react? Yo.
I mean, I left and let her handle it, because if I had stayed, it wouldn't have been good. So, yeah, I mean, wow. And that was the first time my son at 5 was ever called a nigger.
Wow. It's so crazy that...
In DC.
Yeah, okay, because that's another thing. Because I know you've mentioned before that the white people in DC are a bit more liberal, right? So that kind of, I guess that helps. But I don't know, to think that in this day and age, somebody would call a little kid that still, it's just crazy. That is so crazy. Because, I don't know, sometimes... As someone that is not African American, sometimes you think of it like, oh, that's more a thing of the past.
Yeah,
but then it's like,
not.
Wow, a lot of people still deal with that or go through that.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Still here.
But despite all that, I guess you could say that for the most part, most of your experiences with white people have been pretty...
Yeah, I mean, I've of course experienced racism and different issues, even within my own like friend circle with white people. But I think overall, like, it's also like what you make of it, I guess you can say, right? Where it's like I choose to surround myself by certain white people and to cut off certain white people. Two, when I see that they're not, that we don't see eye to eye on like life.
Yeah.
Pretty much. I mean, that's what it boils down to. So, I mean, I think that has a lot to do with it too. Like, I don't need you guys to be my friends. I don't have to have you all in my life with anyone, right? Not just white people. So, I choose to surround myself by specific white people.
Okay. Makes sense. I mean, I think if I had white friends.
You've met some of my white friends?
I've met some of them. Yeah, they were cool. It's always a little different because, again, the only white friends I've ever had was like in elementary school, and after high school we kind of just drifted apart. So right now I don't have any white Americans that I really interact with, like, at all. So, But anyways, yeah, I just wanted to ask that because, again, it's something I've always found very interesting, which I don't know why. They're just people at the end of the day, but...
And, like, that's the thing, when everything was happening with George Floyd, and, I'm talking to my son about it, and my niece, who is, like, my daughter, too, and their question to us was, if white people are so bad, then like why do we have so many white friends? And it just, I sat on that for a little while and I was like, that's right. Like from their eyes, they don't understand, right? And they don't see, and all they see is, okay, like white people are doing this and this and all this is going on, but why do we have so many white friends? So I then decided to like organize a protest that was originally supposed to start off with just, our close friends and a few
Oh, that's
of our,
true. She was on the news even.
Yeah, a few of our close friends. It was like in the beginning of the pandemic, so it was going to be like a caravan protest. And it turned into this huge protest of over probably 200 cars all around the neighborhood. It was awesome.
Good though. It was like a really good turnout.
Yeah, no, it was awesome. And just for my kids to see that, right? And to
you
see
literally organized like the whole thing.
Yeah, and to see their like white allies being there and saying like, we may not understand it, we will never understand it fully, but we're here and we support you. Yeah. And I think that's what's important when it comes to surrounding yourself by any type of white colleagues or friends, acquaintances, whatnot. Like, do they support the cause and the movement, or do they not? So yeah.
So speaking of white people as well, something that I know you've been through a lot, and this is something that my friend Candace, who a lot of y'all saw that I interviewed as well, something that she has been through is being told a lot of times that you sound white when you talk. So, which is a very ignorant thing to say, because I think people that say that it's like they have this expectation that because you're black, you're supposed to sound like you're from the hood, or you're supposed to speak in Ebonics and all this stuff, which, I mean, nothing wrong with Ebonics, but it's like they expect that you're supposed to all speak a certain way. And I guess when they speak in a way that they consider to be more proper, then they tell you that you sound white. And you've gotten this mostly from other black people, right?
Yeah, no, I've never had a white person tell me I sound white. What the fuck? Now, I have had white people surprised when they meet me in person that I'm black, and I have had white people be like, I thought that you were white. So I've had that, but mostly, I mean, black people growing up. I mean, even now as an adult, like, black people being like, why do you sound so white? And like thinking it's an act at first, especially like with men. It's like, I thought it was an act at first, but this is really who you are. And it's like, yeah, this is who I am. Like, I grew up in fucking Annandale, Virginia. Yeah. Surrounded by white people, then moved to Fredericksburg. Okay. So, I mean, surrounded by white people, but at the end of the day, you can't talk white, you can't talk black. There's no specific way to talk. I am happy that my parents, made sure that I spoke proper, and I enunciated my words. And hey, I mean, when you see me pissed off,
don't get mad.
You give me, I go to a whole nother level. You're like, who is this girl? But that's definitely a thing. And that's definitely, I feel like too, I mean, this isn't a question, but no black girls like me. Like right off the bat, right? I've always had an issue with it. I cannot meet most black women and we just form a bond in a relationship right off the bat. It's always like, especially when I was younger too. Oh, you think you're so cute. She talks so white. Whatever. She's trying to get attention, talking like that. Blah blah. Whatever. That's. I know that wasn't a question, but be my friend. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Very interesting.
Till this day, though, still.
Wow.
It's harder for me to form like a relationship with black women who weren't raised like me.
Okay.
I don't know if that sounds ignorant me saying that, but like who weren't raised like me, right? Who as soon as they hear like, oh, you're from Virginia, my mom's from DC, so like girl, she used to send us back here to DC to go to like the YMCA, and we learned how to do the Papa Coochie and like other dances. So they used to be like, oh, like we were like, I guess bullied. Like, I mean, I hate using that word, but yeah, I guess we were like by black girls who were like, oh my god, you guys are so white, blah blah blah, whatever. But eventually they took us in, because once you get to know me in general, you're like, oh my god, she's so fucking cool, I want to be her friend. So I mean, that's how it went.
That's how it went. Okay. Well, I mean, you do have, you are very down to earth. You do have a very like.
Oh come on, tell me everything you love about me. You remember when I used to make us do this? You don't remember when I used to make us do this, and I'm like, let's go around in a circle and tell each other everything we love about each other, and then tell each other everything we hate about each other.
Yeah, actually, I do remember that.
Let's go. Tell them, Christina.
Girl.
No,
but girl. No, but you do have a very like friendly personality, so people tend to get along with you a lot. That's why we still friends, because you're cool. If you weren't cool,
I'm amazing. Give me a hug. Can we hug?
Okay. This girl. Okay, so now switching gears a little bit. So coming back to the whole thing, you are in DC. You're living here. So some people may know that DC over the years has really been going through a process of gentrification in certain areas. I remember there were certain areas, like whenever you heard about it, like for example, Southeast DC. That was one area I remember from when I was younger, living in Virginia, about 45 minutes from DC. I would always hear like, oh, that's the hood, blah, blah, blah. But now when
which
you go...
part?
Do you know any
I don't know
which... No.
You call out any neighborhoods,
girl. I ain't with that hood life. I don't know. But I always hear, oh, Southeast DC, you can go in there. But now it's like certain areas of Southeast are like totally different. And again, I hear that, okay, so in case you didn't know, DC used to be called, Chocolate City, because, the population of African Americans here was very large. And, it was very much part of DC culture, black culture, all that. But, yeah, they've kind of there's been a shift going on.
The takeover.
The takeover. Yeah, so what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I benefit from it in a lot of ways, like how white people have come in the gentrifiers. I guess I shouldn't just say white people. The gentrifiers have come in and, created this great, safer environment for my children to grow up in, and restaurants to walk down the street, and so much variety, and the schools, great schools for them to go to. My kids in a Montessori school. But there's a lot of culture, I think, that has been lost in a lot of things. Like, oh my God, I remember growing up and coming to block parties in DC, like every weekend. There was a block party where you could just get the block closed off, have a DJ out there, and it just turned into a party, people grilling and whatever. And like, that's something that the gentrifiers are not okay with. The fireworks. You typically in DC, I mean, it's still a thing now, but I mean, you're going to get the police called on you and whatever, and white people on the listserv, trying to like shut you down. Because, in DC, it's like fireworks is like from June 21st to
4th of July, or
no,
a couple days after
what?
4th of July, right?
No, to like October.
Oh,
what the fuck? It's like how long niggas went and bought fireworks and spent hundreds and thousands of dollars, and when that shit runs out, that's when fireworks are over.
Wow.
I mean, it lasts, but that's like been a thing. Like, it's like you don't have to go down to the monument to watch the fireworks. You can sit on your stoop and see them everywhere, especially if you have to be like in Southeast, or like the day of, you can see that. But I think that's a beautiful thing, and it's like something that my kids, even while the transition happened, is when we moved back into DC, and we first lived in Southeast, and I mean, I remember sitting on our stoop every night for like 5-6 nights straight, and the kids just looking every direction, just seeing fireworks everywhere.
Yeah.
But then also our kids learning at a young age, was that a firework or was that a gunshot? So, I mean, there are pluses and minuses to it. I think it's really sad that so many Black families hadn't either brought or purchased their home and they were renting, or have lost their home to taxes, which is a big thing. Like, my grandma owns a large home in Northeast DC, and I mean, that was her almost losing her property to taxes until we all kind of chipped in and helped her pay taxes every year. I mean, it's sad, but it happens in all major big cities. The gentrifying and gentrification of the city and people coming in.
But what I don't get is, how do you come into a city where everything is already established, there's already a certain culture or a certain type of people that live here, and then you want to come up in here and then change all the rules? Like, how does that work?
It's called privilege.
I'm about to say, that's not white privilege.
It's called privilege. That's how it works. They're like, we are settling here, right? Like, we used to commute to these jobs in DC, and now we want to live here. We want to be able to ride our bikes to work and hop on the metro and get to work. So we're gonna make it happen. That's kind of how. I mean, that's how it happens. Yeah.
Dang. Yeah, that's like a double-edged sword type of thing, because, like you said, there are some benefits that do happen as far as the safety aspect of it. And then the variety with the little shops and like the luxury apartments you start to see getting built up. But yeah, the downside is like prices on everything goes way up. And then people, they get pushed out. And yeah, like you said, the culture gets affected too.
Yeah, definitely. The culture is...
And DC has like a very specific...
Yeah, like
culture,
I was talking to one of my white friends the other day, and they were talking about like, oh, you know, the boys in their car outside smoking weed and listening to loud music and whatever. And I'm like, it's DC. Like, this is DC still, regardless of how you guys want to think you moved into it being this specific type of way that you want it to be. At the end of the day, you live in a city, and this is DC. Like, but that's a whole nother story.
Maybe it's like they think of downtown DC, like the nicer area should be like, well, all these.
No, I think it's just like a cultural difference in general with like white people. Like, you go to a cookout, and at a white private you haven't been to a white person's cookout.
Besides church people, but
I mean, well, it's just them standing around talking to each other and like having conversation with a fruit platter and a cheese board. And I'm not trying to be ignorant. I have tons of white friends, and that's what it is. And I talk shit to them about it all the time. And it's like a black cookout. Like, I'm like, let me take you to a black cookout where there's a DJ. We're drinking, music blasting, kids just running around. Like, you don't even know where your fucking kids are. They're just running around having fun, whatever, while you're drinking your beer. Like, they don't understand that. They don't understand it. It's just a different culture. And like, one of my white friends had said like they love that their kids experiencing this culture of like dancing, or like in our house, you know, we have music playing all the time. Like, we're dancing, and you know, our kids learn how to dance young, and we embrace that. Where white culture, it's not a thing. Like, you're not, you know.
That's so odd. Like, I couldn't imagine,
right?
Like, because, you know, for us too, music and dance, that's such a huge part of, you know, Dominican culture. So I could not imagine, like, growing up without that. That would just be so weird.
They do.
That's so weird.
It's kind of sad. But we can learn a lot of things from them too, right? Like, I think we all can learn a lot of things from each other. Like, the biggest thing that I take away, one of the biggest things, is white people with their finances and how they set their kids up for success, teaching them about credit and investing your money at a really young age is like, I mean, yeah, you can't compete with like how they, you know, teach their children stuff like that. And I think that also, I mean, it boils down to a lot, is where it's like, I think a lot of white people marry for stability as opposed to just love. And I think in people of color are looking for a long-lasting relationship built on love and not just stability and setting like their kids up for the future.
Mm.
Whereas they'll marry someone because they're like, hey, he is stable, you know, he's gonna be able to provide for me and my family and whatnot. Meanwhile, we're chasing behind niggas that don't even have a car to drive. I mean, it's real.
Yeah, no,
it's real.
You're right.
And you know, and then it just starts this. I mean, it's a domino effect of like when you grow up not being in a 2-parent household and not having that double income.
Yeah,
it's a domino effect.
Yeah. So basically, what you're saying is, using YouTube lingo, white women are being hypergamous, whereas women of color are a lot of times still chasing after dusties. So.
Whoa, dusties! I like that.
You ever heard that?
No.
Yeah. Anyways, okay, so we need to what's it called? Stop chasing dusties and learn to be more hypergamous.
I mean, or a little bit of both, or just chase dusties when you're young and it doesn't matter. But then when you're looking at like settling down with someone and having kids, I mean, and they're very big on like, it's like you meet someone within a year, you better propose. Like they don't play. They don't play, and people of color will be with a nigga for 8 years, 9 years, 10 years. Yeah.
Look at me, I was with one for 8 years, never got married.
Can we talk about that?
Girl, let's not.
I'd love to talk about that.
Let's not talk about that whole soap opera of a relationship that I had. Let's not even go there.
I was there through.
You were.
Through it all.
You were there through the whole thing.
Through it all.
Yeah. All right. So, lastly, I want to ask about your dating experience, since you know I like to talk about dating and stuff like that. I feel like I've asked everybody that. Well, except for all of my interviews so far. Well, no, I haven't. Not all of them. Maybe only 2 of them. Anyways, who cares? Okay. Anyway. Sorry, y'all. I've been sipping a little bit.
My dating experience.
Yes. So how has that been for you?
Like my whole entire life.
Well, no, not when you were like young, because
okay.
we can't count that.
Still young.
Well,
okay,
I mean, you're 28. 28. Yeah. So you know, I know you had your experiences both here and in DR, but we're not gonna get on that right now.
It's not.
That's a whole
dating. What part of it? I don't know. What do you want me to do?
Okay, from 18 and up. Like,
does it have to be about black people?
No, everybody that you did. Like, what type of men have you dated? What type of men do you find to be most interested in you? Online versus traditional dating.
Oh God. All right, so dating. Let's see. My experience dating has been. I have 2 kids. First of all, 2 kids.
Oh yes, and that's another aspect. Talk about the whole dating as a single mom, because some people out here will make you think if you're a single mom, like, oh, you got no options or nobody wants you. Let me tell you, that's a lie. But anyway,
this
go
bitch
ahead.
get around. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, okay, dating as a single mom. Dating as a single mom.
Dating as a black woman and dating as a single mom.
Dating as a black woman and dating as a single mom. Let's start with dating as a black woman. I love black men. I love men of color in general. I don't discriminate. I've never been with a white man because one time I tried and his little penis looked like a little piggy. But I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. So that's never happened. I mean, I guess never say never, but it's not something that I'm interested in. Dating as a black woman has been, I mean, I'd say great. Like, I've met a lot of great men. I think that when I was younger, I looked for potential. Like, and I didn't date men at the point. Like, I was looking for potential. It's like I meet someone and it's like, oh, but they have potential. They have potential to be this, and I can change them into that. And now, as a grown-ass woman who owns 2 businesses, works a full-time fucking job, and provides for her kids without anyone's help, and hey, I'm an alpha female. I know how to be submissive when need be, but at the end of the day, unless you're adding value to my life, in my situation, in my children's life, then there's nothing to talk about. We can fuck.
Facts.
Okay, that's not it. And I'm not even out there like that. And hey, I'm not throwing shade on anyone who is, but like, what is the point? What is the point? Once you have kids, I feel like you just really don't care. You just start, like, you don't care, like, you don't hold on to bullshit relationships that mean nothing, right? Like,
yeah,
it's just like, hey, like, it is what it is. I don't have time to play the games and bullshit. Like, look, if it's someone, the sex is good, and sex is good, and that's what it is. And if there's something more, you got to be adding some sort of value, period. If you're not, then I don't have time for it. Dating as a single mom, I guess I kind of just talked about that a little. I mean,
like, do you ever find that guys have an issue with that?
That I'm a single mom?
That's the fact that you have kids?
No, I would hope that, like, I'm very upfront about it, right? Which I know all people aren't. Where it's like, I mean, you see me, you see my Facebook, you see my Instagram, you see that my kids are like, I'm not throwing shade on anyone who's not like that, but like, my kids are my life. Like, my life is surrounded by my kids. I make time, and I think that I do a good job at like balancing.
Yeah, you do.
You know, my own personal adult time and mommy time and whatever. But like, that's my focus. My kids are my focus. They're what keeps me going. They're everything, right? But I do still make time for, if I am in a relationship or I am dating someone, to make time for them. And make time to nurture our relationship. But
yeah,
I've never really had anyone who had an issue with it. And if they did, then I mean, I guess that's where it ended. Because what is a fucking issue? They're not going nowhere. You are. So.
Right. True.
I don't know. So
yeah.
I don't know. Dating a single mom, I don't think it's that bad. I think it's nice too, because you have that flexibility of like, hey, you know, you have someone else who can watch your kids, so you can date.
Yeah, someone else. Like,
yeah,
who?
dad.
Oh, well, if you have them.
Yeah, if you have
the dad.
you have dad, which, granted, like, one kid, my oldest doesn't have, his dad isn't as involved and around, and the youngest is, but we also have the type of relationship where it's 2-for-1 deal. So you got 2 kids, nigga.
Yo. No, but that is nice that you can.
But that's how
leave the kids with.
Because it's just like that's
out.
how the relationship started, right? Where it's like, you, as a single mom, the relationship is like, you have a bond with my kid, right? Like, before we had another one, so you create that dynamic from the beginning. So it's not, you know, I don't know.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Honestly, I feel like if a guy is really into you and he finds you attractive and he likes your personality, like, then they're not gonna make a huge deal about the fact that you have kids.
A man.
Exactly. A real man will not.
Be careful with that word.
And it's not like we're out here trying to make men that we date are babysitters, and because, you know, people would say, I ain't taking care of another grown man's kids. Like, ain't nobody asking your ass to take care of them.
No, but the way I see it is like, if you love me, you love all of me, and like, that is, you know, the biggest part of me is my children.
Yeah.
Right? And if you don't fuck with them, I don't fuck with you. Like, period. I'm not trying to say that like you have to watch my kids all the time or anything like that. And I'm not the type of mom, which, granted, I'm not throwing shade on anyone, that introduces my kids to someone very early on, or like my kids don't even know anyone until it's like something. Like,
yeah, it gotta be like
an
something
actual
serious,
thing.
legit.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, once it is, it's just like, hey, are you down with this? Like, this is my family dynamic.
Yeah.
And
most guys seem to be cool with it.
It's because I'm so cool.
It's because she's so cool, y'all. Yeah, no.
Now we're trying to get Miss Christina out there. Yes, you know, Miss Christina dating is a single mom. She like to holla for $1.
What? Don't listen to this girl.
But she is single and she is ready for a relationship. Knows. Do they know that?
Yeah, I mean, I said I'm open.
She is ready for a relationship, and she deserves a good you better not cut this shit out. This girl right here deserves a good quality man, you know, to take care of her and uplift her. And I'm so proud of the woman that she's growing into. I've known this bitch for so long. Right, so long, okay, and I'm amazed. I'm proud of the women that we both are growing into, okay. But I really, especially this year, this past year, 2020 has been. I think it's been a pivotal year in your life.
It has, weirdly, in an odd way. Yeah, I feel like I definitely went through like a shift this past year. I
like the shift. I'm here for the shift. I am. I'm here for the shift.
Thank you.
In all aspects of shifting. I'm totally here for it.
Thank you.
But
yeah. No, I'm sure he'll come along whenever the time is right. Or I don't know how I'll meet this man, but eventually.
Maybe on YouTube.
Well, it's funny. I've had a few people actually tell me like, you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if you actually find someone off of YouTube. I mean, these days anything is possible, especially because
2021.
It's like right now because of the situation, everybody's just hyper connected online, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. For me, it's YouTube. I'm on this shit all day. So yeah, I mean, you never know, but I'm open.
It'll come along.
Yeah.
It'll come along, and I think it'll be amazing for you and the girls.
I hope so. Yeah.
When it's the right situation.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, well, Nisa.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah, those are my questions.
It took her long enough to interview me.
First of all, I've been here since yesterday, y'all. Waiting to interview this girl. She made me wait 24 hours. Had to sit here while she was working from home. Okay.
Hey, gotta get my shit done. Okay.
But it's fine. I got to get out of Manassas. The kids are
That's
playing.
Always great.
Yes. Yeah. So it's been good. Yeah. So, to everyone watching, if you want to check out Nisa's business pages,
yes,
plural, there's two. There is the personal training, which she does do virtual one-on-one classes.
In person if you're in DC.
Yeah. She does, in person in DC, and then she also has virtual class and one-on-one. So you can do either format. And then she has the decluttering / organizing business. That's for the DMV area. So if any of y'all are in the DMV, you have a garage, a closet, a bedroom, whatever it is, your kitchen, you need it decluttered and reorganized. Nisa's your girl. So I'll definitely link both of her Instagram pages, and y'all can check that out. You don't have a YouTube channel right now. You've talked about it, but I don't think you're there yet.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of work. I commend all of you YouTubers. I do.
It's a lot.
You guys work hard.
Yes.
Y'all do.
Yeah. All right, y'all. Well, give this video a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll check y'all in my next video.
All right, take care.